Did you see that right there? I couldn't even show the title screen because we're running at 120 frames per second, and like I mentioned in the previous video, you take VSync off and you turn plus 1 minute loading times into plus or minus 2 second loading times. This is Big Benedict. We're playing Dead Space on Impossible difficulty, and this is my PC guide for the aforementioned title. We're going through the campaign on the hardest difficulty using only the plasma cutter, and this is chapter 5 of 12. Now, about that loading screen, what happens is you start up your campaign, you load the file, and heretofore what would happen is that it would have the long introduction to the chapter. It would say the full chapter, but since I took off the vertical sync, I'm getting increased performance, but we have some screen tearing withal, but it doesn't really much matter since it doesn't need to be perfect, and I'd rather have it more functionally playable, to be honest. So let us increase the speed of this particular weapon that we're using primarily, or exclusively I should say. Grab the exploding canister, and we're going to take care of this enemy here. I believe it's called the Wretched. So what he does actually is he will throw spores that will grow tentacles, and you need to shoot the tentacle to destroy the spore. But if you can get in a red canister on him, he will expire. But you want to do that possibly before he starts using some tentacles. He'll summon tentacles around him as well. So I love this game. It was I can't imagine being a gamer back in 2008 and seeing this appear in front of my radar. It's, you can just pick bodies up anywhere you want to. There's so much liberty with what you can do. Everything works so exceptionally well. Like, if you want to just pick up a body and let them float all over the place, you can. That's the type of game this is. It's really something else. Something definitely really special. So I don't know what game is coming next in our future that will, live up to a game like this. Maybe Quantum Break, if I had to guess. So we're going to meet up with the Regenerator soon, pretty soon. I may not have sped this up. No, I didn't speed this up. It doesn't take too long anyway. So in this room here, you're gonna have a is it this room? Well, there is a room coming up. Oh, this has to be the room. Basically, you're gonna have a speech given to you by the unitologist. I believe that's his particular faith. And I've just trimmed it out so that we don't have to take up too much time, because this will be a lengthy chapter. It's a fun chapter. So once you pick up that capsule, he's going to break out of his quarantine in the water. And this is I hesitate to say it's a timed sequence, because I did have to fire a shot in order for Kendra to say something and then have the door unlock. So just don't be too hasty about using too many rounds. Feel free to use as much stasis as you want to. And I've reconsidered. I know I was pledging my honesty in a previous video, I think it was video 2 about not using the code for the stasis. I might do that from time to time. In fact, I'll just admit it, I have been doing it here and there. And I know that that sounds hypocritical, but at least I'm admitting it. So basically all I mean is that when I come to a save point, there's a lot of times when I don't have any stasis, so I just input that code really quickly. And I know it's, it is sort of cheating, and I'll limit my use of it in the future. But anyway, so yeah, that's definitely my bad. I shouldn't be pulling tricks like that because it's pretty cheap. So here's the sermon. You come in here. I'm gonna stay right in the door jamb because this room here has quite a few things which you can drag to you. You can press the confirm button at any point when you're dragging it to you. I just like to drag it all the way over to me so that you guys can see what I'm picking up. So those 3 things are the things that I like to pick up from here, because this is a kind of a time sequence too, and me being the greedy game player that I am, I like to at least get everything in the room as much as possible. Enemies can come from behind in this room by jumping out of the ceiling panels, so just be aware of that. You might see me turn around at some point, just because they've fallen on me before. I really think a room like this needs some stasis in it. Those modules on the walls are actually for the oxygen replenishing, which is not going to take effect until later in the game. So the rule of thumb about the regenerator is that you just want to cut one of his legs off so that he falls down, and then stasis him. See how great it is to have the duration of the stasis last longer, but as you can see, I'm currently out of it, and I don't have any in my inventory. I could just press start and do that code, XYYXY, but mainly I just reserve it. I like to at least just start out with stasis, from the save point. I'm not going to do it 20 times in a battle. That's kind of ridiculous, but I think a well-made game always starts the player out with full health and full mana. Unless it's some kind of a different type of game where your performance is dictated by how much skill you have. So it looks like we've killed all these enemies here. We did have that lurker in here who needed to be quickly killed because he likes to throw those missiles your way. And you might hear the groans and the lamentations of the regenerator, but I think once you enter this room, you're okay. Alright, moving right along then. We're going to transition to this part here, and these enemies are called Guardians. If you can get on them quickly enough, you can instantly kill them with projectiles. They usually give you those red canisters right there to take care of them. If you fire it too soon, what happens is that they can spread tentacles around them, and you'll have to cut those, and they can also toss these spores that turn into tentacles / pods, which throw missiles at you, similar to the missiles thrown by the lurkers. Now, if you take a left over here, there's a node room door. Where is it? I think I passed by it over here somewhere. Now I'm gonna end up tossing some of these cold semiconductors for a reason I'll tell you in a minute. But the node room door in this vicinity, it's I'll point it out when I'm running away in this next part up here. It has very piss poor stuff in it. There's junk in there. There's a couple of lockers. There's nothing of any value hardly at all. So in the last video I was mentioning that I have put the code in a couple of times, probably 15 times, maybe 10 to 15, maybe 12. probably 12, I would say, to get stasis regenerated. And I know that's cheating, and I apologize for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm showing you that I'm using this right here. So I apologize, and I won't be doing it anymore. And as a show of contrition, I'm going to start ejecting some stuff out of my inventory up here. So this room right here, I believe I pointed out. Oh, I passed it. I passed right by it. That's what I was meaning to say. So this room here has two of the pregnants, one of the regenerators. Obviously, we've already seen that guy. Resupplying the air if you need it. And this chapter's almost over. I was confusing chapter 6 for the long chapter, environmental hazard, which is coming up next. But when I get over here, I'm going to start ejecting my inventory, and I'm not going to be picking up anything after this. So I don't know how much those gold semiconductors are worth, maybe 2,500. So just as a show of good faith, because you never reacquire this stuff, I'm just gonna put these out of my inventory and forsake them as out of penance for what I've done. So we're just gonna put these over here. And no, I did not come back and get them. I went to the save point after, and I also went to the tram. And perhaps what I ejected wasn't equal to what I've been using. So here I'm going to throw some more stasis out, and that's going to hurt me in the next level. But there, I apologize. There's my penance. It won't happen again. So even if we do come back here, those things won't be here. So we're going to go to the store here, trade in a schematic, or not. My bad. I was going to sell what I had in my inventory, but for a little bit of further penance, I'll just drop the stuff. And that's that. I apologize. I also want to give a mention to a person who donated last night, a very kind person by the name of Piotr. And I'll just withhold the last name because nobody wants to have the last name on the internet. Piotr, who sent in money for the guide as a donation with a nice little nice little death to Necromorphs message in the donation message. So thank you very much, Piotr. And this video will be dedicated to you then, for helping out the guide and for supporting the channel and supporting this project. Thank you. So we've got some more dividers over here. The best thing to do is just to stasis them, but as you can see, I don't have stasis because I just used it all. And the stasis packs from the store aren't cheap, so I do want to apologize. So thanks to Piotr, thanks to everybody else who has been interacting with the guide, and if you feel compelled to contribute, that will be very appreciated by this channel. So I want to thank you in advance for that. Now, the next chapter will have a boss battle at the end. It's very few boss battles in this game, thankfully. So we're going to mix this batch here. Have the objective finished off for that part. And just about done with the chapter. We're going to have a edit right there because there's a lot of dialogue. And then this is how you get these boxes that you might have seen from the other side of that boarded up barricade right there. And I'm going to forsake those lockers as well. So yes, I do apologize. This is the kind of a boss sequence, you know. That's enough apologizing. I'm not going to apologize anymore. It was my bad for using those codes. I never wanted to, but we all succumbed to temptation. So all you need to do when the regenerator comes in is lock him down with the stasis. You'll have an easier time if its duration lasts longer. So pick up everything. The only thing about this is that there's some lurkers that come out too, and this is a scene that occurs in Dead Space 2. Not so much the scene of it, but this room, very tired. You revisit this whole scene here, and the ship too, the Ishimura. So we're gonna lock him in place, just kill off the lurkers, and you see how long it lasts. I thought I might have to stasis him again, but he was all finished off there, frozen in place. So just come on in here. I'm not gonna forsake that power node though. And I didn't have to kill those lurkers. All you need to do is freeze him and then come in this room. I doubt they'll follow you and interact with the panel, and we'll ship him off to God knows where, but we'll have to deal with him later in the game.
I've managed to override Mercer's lockdown. There's a secondary
So there's Kendra right there,
you can take it to hydroponics.
telling us that we need to go to this alternate tram station to get the hell out of Dodge. And I'll see you in Chapter 6. You guys take care, and good luck with all your endeavors, and I'm out.